His first name, when I first met him, I couldn't get it.
I took French. Can I take a stab at it?
Sure.
Etienne.
And the only way I could remember was.
So I can usually go back to my French.
Etienne.
No.
Because we have that name out in our community at one time, and it was Etchen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And when me go, I used to work for him.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, funny.
That's how he said.
I just reverted to my French, knowing his background was Louisiana.
Lawrence, you lucky, you took French someday.
Yes, I can go to a fancy restaurant and order it. What can you do?
We can just eat.
Number 2,
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to call the meeting of the Riley County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals to order. At this time, we have an open comments session. And this is for anybody that wants to make a comment to the board about something that is not going to be talked about tonight on our agenda. And if you have any concerns or anything that you want to express, we'd welcome you to go to the mic, state your name, and let us know what you're thinking. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and proceed with our consent agenda. And that is consider the minutes of the June 11th or June 13th meeting and the report of fees for the month of June. You all had a chance to look those over. I had one question, if I can find him now, on the fees. Was what? Skyway Crossing? What is that?
We'll have to answer that. I don't know.
That's a plat and rezone in the Manhattan area.
Okay.
It's out on Skyway Drive.
Okay, that's
There was
why,
There was a misunderstanding as far as what they said they were going to do when they came in to pay the fee. They said they were just replanting the property. Well, that's one fee, but when you're rezoning it, that's another fee. So they had to come in, so if you see a double, that's what's.
well, but I was thinking there wasn't a fee.
$200.
Okay, there was fee associated with them.
Yeah.
Okay,
We corrected that.
yeah.
And then they were on there
Yeah.
on June 30th for another.
Okay, that's fine.
This one's Skyway. Oh, it's on the
Any-
back of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other
Yep.
questions?
There it is.
what service member agricultural vocation education corp?
Save farm with Fort Riley. Any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda and the report of fees for the month of. I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Okay, at this time, we have a declaration of the board members to declare any ex parte contacts they have regarding these items that we are looking at tonight, and may declare any conflict of interest or communications they've had that could influence their ability to consider items impartially. Does anyone have a conflict?
I just wanted to state for the record that I do live in the same neighborhood as the replat in Lakeside Heights, and I don't have any monetary gain to be done from their replat, and I believe I can be impartial and would like to participate.
Okay. Do we have to do any action because of that, Lisa?
No.
Does it first? Okay. So at this time, we will close or need a motion to close the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.
I'll move that we adjourn the meeting, joint meeting of the Riley County Planning Board, Board of Zoning Appeals, and due to no agenda items for the Board of Zoning Appeals, reconvene as the Riley County Planning Board.
Second that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mhm.
John. So we will, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. So we will now reconvene as the Riley County Planning Board. And tonight, our first agenda item is punch. That sounds, and Tina Gasson, and petition 220033. And Bob, we will turn it over to you.
Okay, good evening, folks. Switch right here. Etienne Badois and Tina Gasson have made an application with Riley County Planning and Development requesting to replat Lot A of Lakeside Heights, Unit 2, together with lots 57, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, and 69 of Block 5 of Lakeside Heights into a single lot while also vacating a cul-de-sac that terminates the easternmost point of Dana Dale Drive. The subject site is generally located approximately 1,070 feet east of Lakeside Drive on the north side of Dana Dale Drive. The subject property was originally platted as Lakeside Heights in June of 1962 and later zoned SF3 single-family residential during the 1974 county-wide zoning conversion process. In November of 1994, a variance was granted for lots 25 through 28 and 58 through 60, Block 5, Lakeside Heights, replatted as Lot A at Lakeside Heights Unit 2 in 1995, as mentioned. And this was to reduce the front yard building setback required from 25 feet to 17 feet. The aforementioned variance as described will remain in place. There's not a request to rezone the property at this time. The subject property, as mentioned, was zoned to its current residential zoning designation during that 1974 county-wide zoning conversion process. There is not a request or requirement to rezone the property at this time either. The Riley County Fire District Number 1 will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the University Park Station, located at 7412 Redbud Drive. The subject site is located within 5 road miles of the fire station. This is the final plat illustration, or illustrating the orientation and location of the lot's new boundaries. This is the original Lot A or Tract A, as described here, and this is where the lagoon is located. You can see the pictures in the maps. And this is lot 57 over here, and 61 through 69 kind of wrap around that cul-de-sac. The subject site directly abuts Dana Dale Drive on the south and Summit Ridge Drive on the north. Both 2-lane gravel roads maintained by the township. The primary entrance to the site is from Dana Dale Drive. The utility easement running along the south property line of existing Tract A will remain in place. There are utilities running along it. And while the utility easement along the north property line of existing lots 68 and 69, right here, will be vacated with the plat. As mentioned in the description, the cul-de-sac that terminates the easternmost point of Dana Dale Drive will also be vacated, along with the building setback line associated with that portion of Dana Dale Drive to be vacated. Staff recommends that the planning board approve the final plat of Lakeside Heights Unit 5 as it has been determined to meet the minimum requirements of the land development regulations for Riley County, Kansas, and the sanitary code. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to field those for you.
Okay, does the board have any questions at this time for Bob?
Looks pretty straightforward to me, as usual.
Yeah. I got no questions.
Then at this time, would the applicant like to make a statement? If you would go to the podium and state your name and tell us what you'd like to tell us. Okay.
Just Bob did all that work.
Yeah, since Bob
Oh,
did all the work.
not all the work.
The original plat with house, we bought in 1995. And having a little bit of an environmental background, I knew that I needed 3 acres and we only had 1 point something there that it currently sat on. So immediately I started buying up properties around us in case anything happened later on that I needed additional property. The other reason for wanting to plant is we would eventually like to put a shop in, and it looks really pretty on paper because it's nice and flat, but the only flat spot there is the cul-de-sac. Everything else drops off into ravines in all directions. So that is our basic reason for wanting to request this. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents that would like to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents that would like to speak?
Can we ask a question now that
If you would go to the podium, please, and state your name.
my name is Helen Hayes. I just want to know, is there any downfall for the neighboring owners? What's the big thing that could cause us any issues?
Okay,
That's what I'd like to know is,
so what, the houses to the top of the red line, the boxes that are in a row there, I assume each one has a house on it. Is that where you live at, Helen, or?
I do not live out there
Oh,
currently.
okay,
But I own 2 lots with the idea that at one point we probably
You would,
would
okay.
build.
okay.
But after this week, I'm not so sure. But you never know.
Okay.
So that was my main thing is, and if I would sell to my neighbors, you know, and they couldn't be here tonight,
Mhm.
would there be, what would impact them?
Okay. Would you folks like to answer that question? If there's anything that you think that would be an impact on your neighbors?
At this time, we have no plans for building other than maybe on the cul-de-sac area. And as I said, everything,
Yeah,
those lots
are crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have no plans for building future houses or anything, you know, you can't anyway. I mean, it's gonna be one property.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not gonna put in a retirement home, so in case I can't build on mine.
If I do, you'll be invited to live with us. No, I mean, it
You have a
is,
big enough lagoon? Not for me, though.
I can't think of anything that might impact on any of the properties around us. Nothing we would be able to do that we wouldn't have to go through these people again. So,
Bob, is there anything that you would need to address here?
Yeah, just one thing. When you're responding, please come to the mic
Okay.
Sorry,
and address
Sorry.
the board, not each other.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
sorry.
That's it.
I guess I just see one problem with the whole thing. You can make one lot to make it square at the very.
I tried.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, well, we'll discuss this. Are there any other comments? Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Sorry. We do own two other lots that adjoin this plat. But I was informed by the title company that it was probably not a good idea at this time for us to attach those two, because in the process of buying them, one was through an auction here at the county, and the other one is from an individual. And the people at Charleston Wilson said there are circumstances where potentially other offspring could come back and say, we didn't get a chance to make a decision about this. So they recommended that we not include those. And then the opposite end, where you were talking about the one lot over there, I tried for several years to get that, because it would have made it a little more complete, but I now have enough property. We now have enough property that if we have to expand the lagoon, put in a different septic system, whatever, we meet the county requirements.
Okay, any other comments? Do I hear a motion that we close the public part of the meeting?
I move we close the public meeting and go into our deliberation.
So what are your thoughts, board members? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor of closing the public portion of the meeting? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll really second.
Oh, I'll second it, and then we can vote.
I'm sorry, folks. This is not a good night for me. So,
We'll keep
Thank
in
you.
line.
thank you. I need it tonight. So it's been moved and seconded that we close the public portion of the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, now board members, your thoughts.
I think it's pretty straightforward and just good housekeeping, cleaning, whatever.
You think one of these
Things-
days we're gonna run out of lots out there?
No, there's too much trees.
My question is if they address the septic system, and these lots are all small, do all these lots have trouble meeting sanitary code because they're too small?
Yeah.
So.
That's why they need
I
to be
gotta buy
put together.
multiple ones to make it all
We'll
work.
be doing this until they're all.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've done a lot of them already.
There is a benefit district that they're extending University Park sewer parts of Lakeside Heights,
Oh,
and there's rural water. So once those central systems get put into place, people are involved. And then it comes down to the lots large enough for the zoning district to build on. And most of them are. So that's what
Oh,
that
wow.
area needed for decades. It won't hit all parts of Lakeside Heights, but that's what happens.
I just figured that was all just University Park out
That's
there.
kind of what I
It's a
thought
separate
too.
subdivision, but we all,
A suburb.
we all go to the same picnic, so it's-
Yeah, okay.
it's, nobody knows it's different except
Right, I was
for
gonna
those of us that know it's different.
Right.
Yeah, I really didn't know that it
Yeah,
was
I've drove
really
around
more
out
than
there
one.
before, but yeah, I didn't know. Okay.
So, okay, are there any other comments by the board members? Do I hear a motion then?
I'll move to approve the request to replat Lot A of Lakeside Heights Unit 2 to get those lots 57, 61 through 69, Block 5 of Lakeside Heights into a single lot, while also vacating the cul-de-sac that terminates the easternmost point of Dana and Dell Drive to be known as Lot 1 of Lakeside Heights Unit 5, as it has been determined that it meets the requirements of the land development regulations for Riley County, Kansas.
I'll second that.
Okay. Do I need to read it again, Linda, Lisa? Okay. The motion as stated by the board, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, folks.
Good luck.
You're all welcome to stay, or you can leave if you want to.
Let me make this quick
Oh,
announcement. before
sorry,
they
Bob.
take off. The Board of County Commissioners will also hear this request on Thursday, July 25th at 9:50 a.m. It's not necessary, it's not required by law, but I get that extra lot in there, get out here.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
You know,
Okay, our next item tonight is petition 220034, applicant Robert Ells Robert J. and Joanne M. Springer Trust. Bob, you have this, just a moment. Oh,
She probably won't pay this much.
Okay, good evening, folks.
Good evening.
The show has begun. Representing the Robert and Joanne Springer Trust, Robert J. and Joanne M. Springer have made applications. The Riley County Planning and Development requesting approval to rezone an unplatted tract of land from AG Agricultural District to SF1 Single Family Residential and plat the tract into a single lot. The subject property is generally located approximately 200 feet south of the intersection of West 59th Avenue and North 52nd Street on the east side of West 59th Avenue. Mouthful.
The maps are up there that you wanted to give the board members right in front
Oh,
of you.
here.
Sorry.
Take one and pass them along. Okay, while we're at it, you'll notice that the shape of the lot in the most updated plat map is slightly different than what you'll see in the maps here. In the process, it's a work in progress. And so these maps are done early on, and usually the shape of the proposed lot doesn't change. In this case, it did. So you're aware of it. So when you see the difference, the discrepancy, you'll see what's going on there. So nonetheless, the subject site is an approximately 3-acre portion of a larger, approximately 26-acre parent tract. The applicant is requesting to rezone the 3-acre portion from AG Agricultural District to SF1 Single Family Residential and plat it into a single lot. A portion of the remaining parent tract was rezoned from G1 General Agricultural to C4 Highway Business, November of 1991. And that's this area over here, over here. You probably recognize it, you drive by it every day, probably on your way north on Tuttle Creek Boulevard, it's car country. It's the existing car dealership. Rest of the remainder of the parent tract is zoned AG Agricultural District and will remain undeveloped and in farming. Mentioned the majority of the parent tract is also zoned AG Agricultural District. The property situated west of the subject property was platted as Sedalia Heights Addition and rezoned to single-family residential in 1985. That's what you see in the dark green there. These are all various forms of various designations of the single-family residential. We have SF3 and SF2 up here, and SF1 in the dark green. So it is in a cluster of residential zoning designations and zoning or residential uses. Raleigh County Fire District will serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Keats Fire Station, located at 3141 West 69th Avenue. However, the Tuttle Creek Fire Station, located at 4120 Highway 13, may still have the faster response time. The subject site is located within 5 road miles of fire station. This is again, the newest iteration of the shape and configuration of the lot. This is the preliminary plat illustrating the orientation and location of the proposed lot's boundaries and the general topography of the site. Proposed lot 1 directly abuts 59th Avenue, a gravel 2-lane local road maintained by the township. The entire property gently slopes toward the north. And according to the final score of the LISA analysis, which was required for this rezoning request, the subject property achieved 4,554 points, which is strong for development. I'll go into a little bit of that a little bit later. No bonus points were factored into the analysis. Again, the purpose of the request to plat and rezone the subject property is to construct a single-family residence. This is the final plat of the property with no changes from the preliminary plat. Only thing shown here extra, other than the boundaries of the lot, is the additional 20-foot dedication to what was dedicated as part of Sedalia Heights addition in 1985, which was the majority of, if not all, of the right-of-way that was required at the time, which was 40 feet. Since we have a 60-foot right-of-way requirement for roads, it was required by Public Works that an additional 20 feet, but the length of this lot be dedicated along with it. So you also see there's a 20-foot utility easement that sits inside that dedication. So the net acreage is, what you'll see is 3 acres. Reason for that is any less would be not in compliance with what the environmental health specialist has determined to be the need for a lagoon. So that was to meet the sanitary code. So moving on. So the request was reviewed with the 2009 Vision 2025 Raleigh County Comprehensive Plan, specifically the development guidance system in Chapter 12. The first element of the DGS is conformance to the goals, objectives, and policies of the plan. The Vision 2025 amendments to the zoning regulations allow for these types of requests in the LDR. And this is consistent with the goals and objectives of the and policies of the plan. As you see here, an objective or a goal. Second element was consistency with the future land use map. Although there is plenty of non-agricultural single-family residential uses and zoning designations in the area, the subject property is actually not located within a designated growth area as per the plan. The third element is the LISA. Normally, when there is a request to rezone land from AG to residential, a LISA is generated. However, due to the nature and location of the request, he was at, I think I got a wrong number in here.
Yeah, that didn't look right.
It didn't score quite this high, but he did score fairly well. No bonus points were factored into the analysis. And there's the actual number there, 4,554 points, which is good for strong for development. Finally, the hardship factor, the applicant did not express that an unnecessary hardship would be incurred if the request were to be denied. The request, according to staff's analysis, is consistent with the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan.
Okay, thank you,
With
Bob.
that,
Are any questions for Bob?
not quite done.
Oh, sorry.
Staff recommends the planning board forward a recommendation of approval to the Board of County Commissioners to rezone the subject property from AG Agricultural District to SF1 Single Family Residential, as it has been determined that it is in general conformance with the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan and meets the requirements of the Raleigh County Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. Staff also recommends the planning board approve the concurrent plat of Payne Estates, as it has been determined that it also meets the minimum requirements of the Raleigh County Land Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob. Are there any questions for Bob?
Was there anything about the Lisa that you needed to alert the board about? Just straightforward. Okay, thank you.
There's, again, if there was any bonus points, if there was any part of it where they felt that they needed to, like they appraised, there's a point in there, a factor in there where it asks if rezoning the property will negatively or positively impact the value of surrounding property. In order to do that, appraiser has to be hired and all that. It's a bit of a process, but that wasn't done. That wasn't, if they can make a determination that actually will increase the value of the property around it, that's bonus points. But since it's already sitting strong for development, you can get more points, but what's the point? Yeah, I think, quite frankly, my theory is why this area along 59th and along 52nd wasn't included in the, as a designated growth area, is because it's sitting in the land use planning zone of the joint land use study. Now, we understand the designated growth areas around cities, whether they're in or out, that's just the way that goes. They try to maybe go further away from it than toward it. But in this particular case, there's not an incorporated jurisdiction to be concerned about. So I think that's probably it, that you can see it on a wider zoomed out version of it. You can see quite a bit of residential growth in this area. This is a church right here. This is a makeshift mobile home park right here. So, and quite a few homes on larger lots down here. So it's not a very definitive agricultural area, even though there's hay and there's a lot of people with horses and some little ranchettes kind of going on. That's the character of this area.
What was the reason for the change in the site, the shape of the lot? I mean, I wondered why they did it this way when I saw this, and this looks much better to me, but.
Well, there's a clearing over here, and Mr. Springer wanted that left alone.
Okay,
He wants to have many, he's not planning on selling any more of it. This is for family.
yeah.
And so he didn't want this line to go any further south. Again, this is an area that's productive, and he's wanting to keep that. So to make up the area, there's a bunch of trees that aren't doing anything for his agricultural
Right.
operation there. So he requested that the surveyors place that east boundary line within the tree line.
That's
And
good.
I think that there's no question then as to, whether someone's accidentally, farming too far onto someone else's property on an edge or something. He takes care of the boundary issues way up front.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, any other questions for Bob?
I have none.
Okay. At this time, we would like the applicant, if you would like to make any comments, you'd go to the microphone.
No, not really. I think Bob probably explained it the best he could,
Okay,
I think, like I say, from there, we just changed it to where the
Sir.
property line.
sir, could you go to the microphone, please? I'm sorry.
Okay. Just give me a minute. I got a
That's,
bum leg
that's,
here, so
that's
you have to take
fine.
me a
No
minute.
problem at all.
I had a tumor back here and my leg's taking a while to get going. Like I say, rather than that,
Excuse
there
me,
we started
excuse
out
me,
with
sir.
like.
Sir,
Slow down.
excuse me,
What?
could you state your name first,
Oh.
please?
Robert J. Springer.
Thank you.
Okay. When we started out, we made it like that. We was just in the process of how we was gonna do it, but then the surveyor got it off to where it was on the meadow on the side, and I said, I don't want nothing on the meadow part over on the other part, because you never know when somebody could go over there and say, well, this is mine, and this and that. Maybe at a point, we may sell that other strip of ground there, probably not in my lifetime, but somebody else might. And I didn't want just a little bit of where that tree line is. I just didn't want a little bit of that over there where the meadow is.
Okay.
And so we redid it 3 times, matter of fact. And the second time, it was it still had some of the meadow in there, and I told him we just didn't want that. I said, we want the 3 acres there to where it is, and we want the property line down that tree line. That way nobody would ever confuse as to what's theirs and what's not theirs.
Right.
And so the third time, when he had it up there a while ago, the third time, well, that's the way we decided on it, and I thought that was probably the best. And like I say, if we ever do anything with that other, and we probably never will, but I give this to these people. Like I say, they've been my friends a long time, and like I say, I'm getting old. I'll be 80 years old in January, so maybe I'll need a little help somewhere. I mean, we're all here. I think we're all kind of old, and so it might. Some people have somebody to help them, some people don't,
Yeah.
and we don't. And I said they wouldn't be very far from where we live. I've lived there 41 years, so, and I'm planning on that being the last move for me.
Okay,
So I guess there isn't much else I could say.
all right, thank you.
You bet, thank you.
Okay, do we have any opponents to the petition tonight? Seeing none, are there any more proponents? Would you folks like to say something also, or? No. Okay, very good. All right, do I hear a motion that we close the public portion of this hearing?
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public portion of the hearing and go into deliberative phase. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think that it's kind of just, you just go across the street, I drove in that way when I came in tonight,
Uh-huh.
I cut off through there. It's matches what's on the other side of the road, so,
Yeah,
and there's not a problem, I mean, it is, it's a good deal for the community.
oh, yeah, yeah. And like I said, I really like the way that they cut that and make it
Yeah,
along the
yeah.
tree line. I think that's a lot better
Mhm.
and stuff, so. Nathan, do you have anything?
It kind of fits what I thought on the 2025, where you have the small acres that kind of
Mhm.
triangle down in there. It's a good place for home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, any other comments? If not, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to move to forward the recommendation of approval to the Board of County Commissioners of Raleigh County to rezone the subject property from AG Agriculture District to SF1 Single Family Residential.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded as stated by the board to approve the rezone for petition 22-034 for Robert and Joanne Springer. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 5-0.
I'll also make the motion to move to approve the concurrent plat of Pine Estates as it has been determined that it meets the requirements of the Raleigh County Land Development Regulations.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the concurrent plat. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 5-0.
Good luck.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, he's got a little bit.
One more thing. Board of County Commissioners will hear this request Thursday, July 28th, 10:20 in this room.
Is the 28th, I think.
28th at 10:20 a.m.
10:20 a.m. in this room.
Yes,
Okay.
I recommend being there for that one because it is a reason.
Oh, he'll be there.
Oh, okay.
Either that or water skiing.
Yeah. We and them are gonna be together.
So you folks are welcome to stay for the rest of the
Oh, no.
meeting, or you're free to go, whichever
Okay,
you'd
I'll
like
do
to do.
Thank you.
No.
It's fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other business? No.
Hey, you got two. Do you have to use both of them?
Oh, we need to sign the plat. Do we need to sign a plat tonight? Okay, so don't be too. Okay, so don't forget to do that before you leave.
Better.
Huh?
Hopefully it'll get better. Bob,
I
thank you.
did something right tonight.
That's all right.
Real quick, folks, we do have a couple Mylars out here for you to sign. Be careful on the replat for Lakeside Heights. It's a fancy one. so that your names are actually underneath a particular line.
Okay,
Ah.
don't sign the wrong
Ah,
one.
sign it right
Where your
spot.
name is.
Oh,
In other words,
Okay,
And
I-
Diane,
yes,
just let you know, I will be absent for the September meeting.
okay.
remember when I had the surprise secretary?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I may not be here for the August meeting. I'm not sure yet.
We have three
And-
petitions, well, two petitions.
And I probably won't be here for the August meeting after Kansas City. So I was gonna say that too. So are we out of August people?
Well, if we
No,
have
we
three.
have three.
what day is
Yeah, we
that
have
on?
But-
a forum with three.
Eh,
And when else show up? I'd volunteer, but it's kind of a conflict.
Be the 8th.
August 8th.
I'll be here.
Okay, I was gonna say I could be reached by phone.
We do a Zoom.
Yeah, we
I
could do
can
a
sit down.
Zoom. I could be available via Zoom if
Hey,
needed.
That's a
I'll
possibility.
Check, I think
Okay.
I'll be here, but I
I'm
might
just
not.
in Kansas City during the
I
day.
think
so
we're
we-
meeting
Okay.
later than that.
If you wanna do that, I think that would be fantastic. Above, over and above, beyond kind of. If you guys are absent and anyone else is absent, then we won't have a quorum.
Let me
Right.
see.
And then we'll have to just.
Yeah.
And get bumped
Send
to
it
the
to
next month.
September.
So if you're willing,
I'm,
we'll know more then, right? But if you're
Right.
willing to do the Zoom thing.
Like I said, I don't know yet. I should be here, but I don't know.
Okay,
I'm happy to join via Zoom.
okay, fantastic.
Okay.
That's awesome.
One other question for you. In the minutes, it said you were going to check with legal. Have you heard anything back about us limiting
Oh, yes,
comments?
absolutely. Found that out today. I believe legal said it is that the board or the Board of County Commissioners set their own. And they said that the planning board can set their own limits like you were wanting to do anyway.
Okay,
So we can move forward with whatever we want to as far as that goes. We can establish them as consistent, or we can announce them at whatever meeting.
this is my own thoughts on it. You guys tell me what you think. I would like to see it be consistent across the board. I mean, just like these folks, they're not going to take up 5 minutes and stuff, but they're allowed that if they want it and stuff. But, and that everybody know ahead of time. And that
Yes,
way
yes.
there would be no
Surprises.
It doesn't look
surprises
like
for
what
them
we do.
and they can't blame us.
Yes, yes. Then if they have any questions, they can contact the office and ask
Yes.
why, if
Yeah.
there would be, happen to be. But yes, I agree with you, Diane. I think it ought to be straight across the board. That way we're not confused.
We're not paying favorites to anybody.
Yes,
We're not
yes.
It doesn't look that
singling
way.
people out.
But
Are you saying you want to make an announcement at every meeting, that that's what the protocol is?
I wonder
Well-
if you could put it in anything that's a public notice that you send out and then put it in the agenda.
Yes, put it in the agenda. and
I've
I
seen
would
that
read
other
it.
places where it just says in the
I would read
agenda.
it, but I go back to when at Zeendale, we had to
I
come.
know, I know.
And we knew ahead of time that it was going to be 3 minutes. And that way your group is prepared. You're not going to have 10 people speaking for 5 minutes apiece and,
Well, we can work on something that we'll put on the agenda.
okay.
Right.
And that way,
I
anybody
think
that is
then they know.
coming will have it.
Where they had the opportunity.
Well, actually,
there comes,
So you could adopt I know the board did a resolution, obviously that wouldn't quite be the same for you folks, but you can, adopt some sort of document that actually specifies time limits.
Okay,
Whatever, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is. So then you have that in writing, it's established and we can certainly make people aware of things, but that might be the best way to do it. So that at least it's established, it's written, you folks adopted it.
so do you need a motion that this is what we want and then you folks will create a document?
I don't think we need a motion for us to create it. We can
Okay.
create it and then that's when you'll make your.
Okay.
you'll do your vote.
There you go.
Okay,
Can we have something in there that we can extend their time limit if the board desires to? So That way, if we want to hear something from somebody and let give them a little more time, the rest of them aren't out there saying, you gave them more time, that's unfair.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, can't you always ask a question afterwards and that in effect would give them time to answer
Yeah,
the
you
question?
Right.
Build in flexibility.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be rigid.
Right. Yeah, I don't want it to be rigid, but yet, you know, sometimes you need something to be able to
Sure.
kind of cut
Sure,
people
sure.
off too.
So if you, right, so if you do your 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then, right, they hit 5 minutes, but you have questions, that doesn't count
That's
against
okay.
their time. You can still go back and forth, because of course, that's you folks
Okay.
asking questions and getting them to talk a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that-
think
that-
that's okay
yeah,
because
that-
it's not another, it's not their statement
Right,
extended. It's
right,
asking them a question which doesn't have a clock.
right.
Right.
Well, I still like to see something in there saying that we could grant them more. If they got something complicated they're going through and they need a little more time. Rather, I guess we could give them more time in the form of a question, but we could just say, hey, you need a little more time. We'll give
But
you
Nathan, when you're up there giving a statement, 3 minutes
Yeah.
is a long time. I mean, you can do one and a half, well, both sides of a page and one side of another page in 3 minutes.
Question
You
on,
can read that.
you say consistent across the board. Is that just us or are we talking about consistent with the county commission?
No, just us.
Just here, okay,
Consistent across the board to all of our people that come in,
okay,
all the people we work with. Is what I was referring to anyway.
okay. Just thanks for clarifying.
Well, no, I mean, but if you think that it needs to be different,
Well, I think most, like tonight, it was fine. Most time it's gonna be fine. It was just that one meeting
And that's what it's made for.
that's
Mhm.
when we really need to pay attention to it.
And I don't know how formal you guys want the meeting to be, but I do the minutes for the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board. I don't go to it. But the chairperson announces before they open up the public hearing. I think they only do it once.
Can you roll call?
But it states, this is how much time you have, but what I thought was good is that it says, you speak to the board, you come up and you speak to the board members. That they don't, most people are not gonna know that when they come in here,
Right,
like what
yeah.
happened tonight.
and when they're just making a little comment, or a gentleman that has a person, not a gentleman, but a person that has trouble walking or something, that they would rather just sit there and, you know, it's a kind of an intimate setting here anyway, that,
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
That
I-
is something you wanted to do.
yeah, that would be fine.
I agree.
So
That
we can put something together and bring it for you folks to.
Okay.
Sure.
And then like this thing about this disclaimer, should I be reading that every time?
I
No,
think if you do it at the beginning of the meeting, it sets the tone. for-
Well, no, that's what I mean. Should I be reading it at the beginning of every meeting?
I think it's good protocol,
Okay,
especially if there's a lot of items, a lot of differences and stuff like that. And that allows allows everyone to see that the board is concerned about that and they're looking out for it.
okay.
So
So Lisa, if I could have this at all meetings.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm sorry. I just
Oh, no, no,
stopped
no,
putting it
that's-
out because I didn't think anybody was really looking at it.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's fine. That's fine.
But no, yeah, I could do it.
That's all I had.
Well, I think we left you to hang that meeting a little bit, Diane. I felt you were taking a lot of heat that meeting unnecessarily. And I felt bad that we left. I think the rest of us just sat back there and let you take the heat on that. We shouldn't have.
Well,
done
you know
that.
what? I have a gavel at home that I had when I was president of something. I am going to bring it and donate it to them, because if I'd had a gavel that night, what bothered me the most was the disrespect that they were showing this board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
was.
bothered me more than anything.
Yeah, it was.
They were not showing any respect for what we do at all. You know, and it's like, okay, folks, you don't like it, come up here and do it.
And I know it doesn't happen very often, but I think if we made it consistent and made the announcement that you come up, you address the board, not
Mhm.
each other. So when it is contentious, they won't sit out there and
Yeah, Yeah, that's true too, yes.
They probably will anyway.
Well,
Have to be
they-
reminded.
Well, then that's
But
when
then that gives
Diane
further
brings the,
reinforcement.
that's when
to-
Diane
gavel.
brings them back to home place and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
knock it off.
Just remember, there's a glass surface.
Yeah, wow.
I have
Oh,
a
you're
pad,
whacking.
I have a pad here. It's a little gavel.
Okay.
It's not like a sledgehammer.
It's a tomahawk.
No, but yeah, after that, I thought that, oh, I should have had a gavel. And it's only this big around. It's not even,
Doesn't
Like-
take much time.
no, well, that's true. It doesn't. So anyway, okay, is there anything else to be brought before the board?
Adjournment.
You ready to adjourn? You want to go home, John?
Well, sure, why not?
Okay, are
move we
there
adjourn.
motion? Second,
Second.
been moved and second that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Again, Mylar is everyone.
Mylar,
you, folks.
find your own name, not somebody else's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fancy.
oh, I don't know.
Oh,
Well, sometimes
depends
they
on the
close-
week.
Yeah, it depends. It was, I went out there before I came here and they were not busy at all. So I